first night there was a mountain lion. The officer seen it walk by the car, so we thought maybe she got attacked by a lion.
Alright, yeah, you can go down there.
Is it a crash?
I mean, the bike looked, the way it was laying, it kind of looked like it, but there's not really that much damage to the bike. That's the thing.
Lion?
Yeah, it was just like lion.
Was it no lion? Mountain lion?
I didn't see anything that would...
I didn't see anything, and they're not letting us go over the site.
Because we're getting a track.
Dogs, we're bringing dogs.
Just
On one of the last pages of the 131-page affidavit, Barry Morphew's various defenses and alibis are listed and juxtaposed in these concluding remarks. Barry initially blamed a mountain lion for Suzanne's death upon being notified of her bicycle recovery. In 2021, Barry blamed the turkeys for why he did not have veggie soup with Suzanne during lunch on Saturday, May 9th. The deer for why his tranquilizer gun was used to explain the needle sheath recovered in the dryer, and a chipmunk for why he was running around his house after arriving home at 2:44 p.m. and then firing a gun of a .22 caliber to describe his violence towards Suzanne that afternoon, and the caliber of the tranquilizer darts. For his trip on May 10th, Barry explained that his left turn on Highway 50 to explain the truck movement because of a bull elk sighting at 4:30 a.m. from 2 miles down the road. Well, that was a left turn that placed Barry Morphew at the scene of where Suzanne's bicycle helmet was found.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science. In this analysis, we'll take a closer look at the Chipmunk alibi as well as some additional statements Barry has made. Before we get to that, a big thank you to all subscribers of this channel. Thanks to you, we've reached the 250k milestone. And now, without any further ado, let's get started with today's analysis. Barry asserted to the cops on multiple occasions that Suzanne had simply left on her own, and goodness knows there was a little evidence to back that up. For example, the fact that she no longer loved him and that she was having an affair. But why would anyone leave without their ID, without their bank cards, without their money, without their passport? And why would they stage their own disappearance using a mountain bike? And why would they never ever use their phone or social media or bank accounts again?
I was probably walking around my house shooting chipmunks. And then that confession to shooting chipmunks becomes a major piece of incriminating evidence against him.
Now, on the face of it, Barry saying that he shot 85 chipmunks simply doesn't make any sense because, well, did he count each one? Every time he shot a chipmunk, did he make a little knot somewhere, all the way up to 85? And is there a chipmunk cemetery behind the house? Okay, where is it? Now remember that we're going to come back to that particular point. Even if we wanted to accept Barry's alibi, there are a few serious problems with it. Firstly, it's the fact that shortly after shooting the chipmunk, Barry's phone goes into airplane mode. Let's have a look at the affidavit. Special Agent Grissing further explained that Barry's phone went into airplane mode on Saturday at 2:47 p.m. and came back out of it at 10:18 p.m. That's around about 7 hours later. Barry also said, oh, maybe I put it into airplane mode by accident. Barry looked at his hand as if he was holding his cell phone and said, yeah, it's the first thing that comes up when you hit settings. And it would, if that happened, it was probably an accident. Then it also seems quite sudden. He arrives home and within 3 minutes, he's on a mad chase after a chipmunk on a Saturday after work. It's been a long week of work and Barry is doing this the first moment he gets home. Special Agent Grissing asked Barry for permission to ask another question about the chipmunk thing, and Barry said yeah. Grissing said, from 2:44 p.m. to 2:47 p.m., Barry is going to the porches. Barry said, Special Agent Grissing continues and said at 2:47 p.m. Barry's phone went into airplane mode, and then he asked Barry if he placed the phone in airplane mode. This was in a separate interview. Interestingly, when he's asked about why his phone went into airplane mode, the hunter responded that his wife had been mercilessly tracking him. He uses this term for tracking. Now, it's really interesting what the police say in response to that. We'll get to that in a second. Grissing said at 2:47 p.m. Barry's phone went into airplane mode, and Barry said, I don't know, where was it on me, or was it on the kitchen, or what? Special Agent Grissing said the phone movement was how agents knew Barry was moving around. Barry said, oh, because it was on me. So apparently, even though it was on airplane mode, the phone was still trackable. Special Agent Grissing said that in the past, Suzanne tried to track Barry's phone because she thought he was having an affair, and Barry said, Special Agent Grissing said Suzanne told her friends and lover about her tracking him. Barry said, well, she's told me that. I mean, she's tracked me everywhere I went. Quite ironic. And then there's this interesting moment here when Special Agent Grissing said Barry may have been placing his phone in airplane mode to keep from being tracked. He said, no. I don't recall turning my phone on airplane mode. I do not recall that. Another issue is a gun Barry described as his Chipmunk gun. It didn't appear to have been fired in a long time. And Barry said, and I gave you my gun. That's my Chipmunk gun. They didn't even take it. Special Agent Grissing said the gun did not appear to have been fired for a long time. Barry said, yeah, it has. I'm just telling you right now that if I was guilty, I wouldn't hand over weapons to you guys. Special Agent Grissing said Barry's movements that afternoon, to include the truck door opening, him running from the porch to porch, and Suzanne not answering texts from her lover, looked different from investigators' perspectives. A little bit of a euphemism there. Barry said, I explained that. You can ask anybody that knows me. I've killed 85 chipmunks at that house. Now, it's interesting that he wanted to say shot and then chooses a different word. And it does make one wonder, how did Suzanne ultimately die? Was she shot? Or what do you think a hunter would do in that situation? Anyway, he says, that's all I do. I can't sit still. I'm a worker. I'm a busy bee. That's what I was doing that day. Well, I'm pretty sure he was a busy bee that day. Now, how did Barry get the gun so quickly? Did he have it with him in the vehicle? This is bottom of page 97. Special Agent Grissing said agents tried to find Barry chasing the chipmunks on his own cameras that were recovered, but they couldn't find anything. He said, well, I don't think any cameras were there. They were in the safe, he added. Everything was in the safe. They took everything from the safe. Special Agent Grissing asked Barry how he knew the chipmunk was outside to chase it that day. And he said, oh, they're always out there. That's just what I do. I mean, I've shot 85 chipmunks at my house, and when I'm bored, I shoot chipmunks. Special Agent Grissing said right and asked if the chipmunk gun was in the car or truck with him, and he said that he couldn't remember. Now, did the chipmunk gun have a scope mounted on it? And Barry answered yes, nodding his head. Special Agent Grissing asked Barry what he did. This is so important. What did you do with the chipmunks after you killed them? And he said he either threw it up on the hill where the crows come and get them, or down by the river. What did he do with the chipmunks? Well, he got rid of their little bodies one way or another. Did the chipmunks damage the door frame to the bedroom? Did you guys know that there was damage to the door frame? Grissing showed Barry a photo of damage to the door frame of their bedroom, explaining that the prior owners said it was not there previously. So the police had gone to the trouble to verify that the Morphews hadn't acquired the house with that damage already in place. Barry was asked if that was the result of an argument or him being locked out. He said, I have no idea what that's from. So a little bit of a mystery surrounding that. And then how did Barry get those scratches on his arm? According to the affidavit, those injuries appeared to be recent, just a few days old. That's the bottom of page 21. Barry also used a very poor choice of words to describe the fact that he thought Suzanne was sober in her final moments. In other words, not drunk or intoxicated. These were his words. He said, "It's actually one of the best nights we've had in a while because there were no chemicals in Suzanne." Think of those words. There were no chemicals in Suzanne. Guess what? That's exactly what they found when they did the autopsy. They found these very rare chemicals. In other words, Barry says there were no chemicals in Suzanne. The police find there were chemicals in Suzanne, and very exotic, very unique, very different chemicals.
Are you
Okay, so I'm the daughter's boyfriend,
okay?
and I'm here.
Is this your truck?
That's my truck.
See what it should be. Never mind. I got something here. So you haven't seen the mom at all, have you?
Yep. So the two daughters are gone right now at the moment. The dad is in Denver for a job, and they text her because of Mother's Day, and they haven't heard. The text never went through, like it never delivered since this morning.
It was Suzanne's lover, Jeff Libler, though, who thought Barry may have done something either if he found out about the affair or if Suzanne told him that she was going to leave him. Well, how about both? I'm not going to take it further than that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.